This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Five released from Mount Bosabi kidnap. Members of Parliament challenged to lead in development. And LGBTQ presence in PNG questioned. Good evening, you're watching National Emtv News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with the situation at Mount Bosavi LLG and Mount Sisa LLG is currently still tense. MTV News understands 5 out of the 23 females were released on Wednesday morning. However, the kidnappers are still demanding a ransom for the remaining girls that they hold captive.
In an exclusive interview with MTV News today, two concerned leaders from Mount Bosavi LLG explained as to why the kidnap initially occurred. This is Jimmy Hale, an anxious leader from Mount Bosavi. He says the kidnap occurred at Walagu village, a 3-hour walk from Wapi Mission Station, at around 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. According to Jimmy Hale, 5 women were released that same night. However, the rest, mostly young girls from Walabu Primary School, were being held captive. At the time of this interview today, Jimmy received a phone call from his cousin brother in Mount Bosavi, alerting him that a total of 17 girls were released back to their families yesterday afternoon after an intense clash put on by the villagers.
Some of my relatives, they went and then they fight back with this criminal. And then they released these 17 girls back to the parents of the relatives and family of the people, my family. So this is the current update at the moment now from the boys.
According to Jimmy, almost 30 men fully armed walked into Walagu village and kidnapped the students. They demanded a ransom payment of 40,000 kina and 10 pigs from the helpless villagers. Speaking on behalf of the innocent and vulnerable men, women and children there, Jimmy Hale says the villagers are living in fear of their lives as these gangs continue to harass and attack them. Meantime, in a phone interview with Deputy Commissioner of Police, Dr. Philip Mitna, who is in charge of this specific operation, said this will be a joint security operation. However, security personnel are yet to be deployed to Mount Bosavi before any statement or comments can be made.
Like I said on the media on Friday, I think, we don't need to establish person now. What action we need to planning is it's a joint operation. So we're doing the same thing. It's a sequel to the last operation. There's something confidential we holding past 10 until hopefully we should be out by Tuesday, like inshallah, sorry. But one time will talk, it will be helpful for us because these are more evidence on the man now. But we need all the information we need to one man isolate and the people that are causing this misery.
Whilst waiting for police presence on the ground, a concerned Jimmy Hale is now calling on all ward councillors and leaders there to work together to help bring the kidnappers to justice as he desires for total peace and good order in Mount Bosavi. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
A possible planned invitational visit by the Indonesian Defense Minister to Papua New Guinea is underway. This was announced on Thursday upon the arrival of the Indonesian delegates. Upon discussions that took place, one of the highlights is that of a possible visit by the Indonesian Defense Minister to PNG, as announced by the Vice Chairperson of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation, Putu Supandma Rudana.
Also, I've talked to the Minister of Defense. I will ask also our Minister of Defense to do the exchange trip visit to Papua New Guinea, because the Minister of Defense of Papua New Guinea have been to Jakarta. So we also would like to encourage our minister to also have more close direct visit to Papua New Guinea, so have more understanding about Papua New Guinea, the people, and also the potential of the cooperation.
Rudana stated that Papua New Guinea is the most important neighbor to Indonesia, hence one of the key challenges is the border between the two nations.
Papua New Guinea is the most important neighbor to Indonesia. We are very close together, and then there's a great, there's challenges also, because we neighbor. Usually there's a discussion about the border discussion.
During the grievance debate yesterday, Governor for Enga Province, Peter Ipatas, has challenged all the members of parliament to be leaders in leading the way for development of this country. He said this is their privilege to be in the parliament, and the first thing that they should have is honesty in whatever they do.
Peter Ipatas stressed that we have come a long way and our country should be better compared to where we are at currently. He challenged all members to work together in ensuring that the laws of this country are upheld and adhered to.
This is the only country where you need staff or you need staff. So any duty, you need a responsibility. Now make sure also in this country, we start good. All the time we have no problems there. And hopefully you need this parliament. Not taking responsibility. You know now you need talk. No more public servants. Those are all parliament. We are the leaders responsible for making this country great.
He highlighted that law and order is a big issue throughout the country.
Police are ineffective. Defensive. Defensive now, come on, ineffective. We are losing a very good defense force that was created and established. Long not function, no defending this country long. External forces. We now some you by internally trying to fix the problem. This problem is escalating. Now you need to do the paper. How much of innocent girls were kidnapped?
He also stated that decentralization of power must be effective in each province.
We are here supporting government. We respect our government. We respect your roles as ministers, prime ministers, deputy prime ministers. When are you going to respect the operations of provincial governments and the governors? Giving people no working, strengthening government, no police. So you can manage it or people no police. Project is not development. System of government must be effective. But administration must be efficient in the provinces. And then you will have a healthy country.
Estagane, National Emtv News.
Member for Myanmar Open, Solan Loifa, said Connect PNG is a good program, but PNG needs better construction companies to build standard roads and bridges with well-qualified engineers. This was highlighted yesterday during the grievance debate in Parliament.
Member for Menyamia says his electorate is close to Gulf Province, and through the Connect PNG program, roads are constructed to reach the people in the remote areas. Building of roads and bridges is a way forward for PNG.
And I would like to commend the government for that. In the pockets of the mountains where people are tucked away, when road connects to them, most people are looking for services in towns and cities. That's why we see them in the cities. But if we bring the services by connecting them to the roads and bridges and jetties, people won't come out because services is reaching them. And when we build roads and bridges and jetties, people will bring their produces like agricultural produce, coffees, their agricultural crops, and also fish to the market.
He, however, stated that after 1 or 2 years upon completion of these roads and bridges, the roads are falling apart.
This country seriously needs standards. It seriously needs standards. If they cannot deliver, we must seriously see how best, the company that is trying to build road and bridges, they must be up to a standard so that the roads can last 10 to 15 years or 20 years. Most times we are putting money back into the same contract again instead of building another road or building another jetty or building another bridge because the road is falling apart or coming off again.
Member for Manyamia strongly recommends that the government must look into the construction companies which are carrying out the construction of these roads and bridges.
Serious about standards, and engineers need to be serious. If you are a qualified engineer, do your work diligently and faithfully. No can go outside said na put him Yaman report na you go put him. Collect your side na you go wagi road in straight lamb na Yaman on top na you come the road bagarab again. Money block all man meri work lo inside the same road na same bridge again.
Esther Gane, National Emtv News.
The Integrated Financial Management System is the new financial management system in the country that has replaced the old provincial government accounting system. Deputy Opposition Leader Douglas Tomoriesa questioned this system during the Parliament sitting yesterday, saying it is not functional in the districts. He raised a series of questions to the Minister for Finance and National Planning, Rainbow Paita.
Mr. Tomoriesa directed his question without notice to Minister responsible Rainbow Paita, requesting if an overall audit for this Integrated Financial Management System, or IMFS.
Can the government do an overall audit into the IMFS system and improve the weakness and gaps in the system before they are installed for use by all levels of government? The government, in the meantime, bring back PIGAS or an alternative system to operate in the district to serve the financial management needs of the districts and the provinces.
According to the Deputy Opposition Leader, the IMF's main objective is to improve budgeting, accounting and reporting weaknesses identified in the provincial government accounting system, which is the old system. Tomoriesa told Parliament that the IMFS installed in the districts has not improved as challenges are still being encountered, resulting in lack of service delivery in the districts.
IFMS has significant weaknesses in the system, which allows financial officers and IFMS operators to collaborate, manipulate, and misappropriate funds. The printing of reports in IFMS is centralized by Wagani, making it difficult to get financial reports required by district administration for the purpose of financial management and timely reports.
In responding, Minister for Finance and National Planning, Rainbow Paita, said this integrated financial management system was introduced by the government to help revamp the provincial government accounting system. However, the government is always on the lookout for a much newer version for effective performance, especially in helping in districts' budgeting, accounting and reporting of funds allocated and used. He elaborated further on this.
When we faced the malware attack last year, that has probably opened up us at Finance Department to be able to see some of the system failures we had with IFMS. As I said, not completely the perfect system we'd want to use, but it was the best at the time we had to use given reporting and some of the good features of the system. So given that malware attack, which the report will be tabled next week on the floor of Parliament, that attack has now given us the department to be able to see how we can audit the process of getting an improved version of the IFMS.
The introduced integrated financial management system is a more computerized one, replacing the old provincial government accounting system. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. The Inclusive Green Finance Policy was officially launched this week at the Hilton Hotel in Port Moresby. The ceremony was presided over by the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, James Marape, who expressed his honor in inaugurating this significant policy. The Prime Minister encouraged government departments, state-owned enterprises, financial institutions and MSMEs to collaborate and utilize this policy as a foundation for building a green business economy.
In his address, Prime Minister James Marape said to those in attendance to celebrate the establishment of the Green Finance Policy by the Bank of PNG, which he believes is the first of many steps towards transitioning Papua New Guinea from a high-carbon economy to a sustainable and blue economy. Marape also emphasized the policy's importance in addressing climate change and how it will benefit the people of Papua New Guinea. He stressed the need to develop the country's economy in a smarter and climate-resilient manner, fostering low-carbon and inclusive green growth. The Prime Minister expressed gratitude to the Bank of Papua New Guinea, the Global Green Growth Institution, the New Zealand Highland Commission, financial institutions and other technical and development partners for their collaboration in designing and developing the Inclusive Green Finance Policy. The Prime Minister also commended the Green Taxonomy, a unique feature of this policy, which is the first of its kind in the Pacific and Papua New Guinea. He congratulated the Acting Governor of the Bank of PNG and the development partners for their contribution to establishing this crucial tool and service for the benefit of the people. Ms. Elizabeth Genia, Acting Governor of the Bank of Papua New Guinea, underscored the significance of embracing green finance and adopting a proactive approach to address environmental risks and invest in projects that promote long-term sustainability. The launch of the Inclusive Green Finance Policy marks a significant milestone for Papua New Guinea, demonstrating its commitment to building a sustainable and environmentally friendly economy and fulfilling the international commitments to the Alliance for Financial Inclusion under El Sheikh Accord. Through collective efforts, the government and financial institutions aim to steer the country towards a low-carbon, inclusive green growth pathway and address the challenges posed by climate change. Rocky Iso, National MTV News.
The higher court system in PNG was questioned yesterday during Parliament sitting. Member for Chuave James Nomane directed this question without notice to Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pila Niningi.
During question time yesterday, member for Chuave, James Nomane, asked if the backlog of court cases that are still pending to be efficiently heard and how is the Justice Department handling the lack of judges issue in the country.
We've got a backlog of cases held in appeal, in leave, and the timeline for litigation seems to be protracted. A lot of Papua New Guineans can't afford it, and we have a shortfall of judges in the country. So if the Minister for Justice and our good Attorney General could explain to this Honourable House.
In responding, Minister responsible for Justice and Attorney General Pila Niningi said Cabinet has approved a submission to include a third court system, which is the Appellate Court. This will now be in between the National Court and the Supreme Court. Minister Niningi talks more on this.
Now we plan by the proposal same court system we plan send along High Court, National Court, Court of Appeal, na beyond Supreme Court. Currently, we plan along this like two courts, all High Courts, all sit down on the same judges, all sit down on National Court, beyond only go sit down on Supreme Court. Now, in this nubla proposal, a stab longen, you got court belong only yet, or judge belong only.
Now, with the three-tier court system, backlog of outstanding court cases can be addressed effectively. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
The presence of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender and queer or LGBTQ individuals in Papua New Guinea was questioned on the floor of Parliament yesterday. Member for Kundiawa Gembog, Mugoa Dilo, asked Prime Minister James Marape as to why the LGBT flag was being allowed to be erected in the American Embassy premises and what is the country's stand on this.
To look at our reform agenda.
Prime Minister James Marape was questioned on the status of the country regarding the LGBTQ community gaining prominence in PNG. Referring to PNG as a Christian country with strong customary beliefs that are also associated with our way of life, he queried if the LGBTQ presence will be accepted in the country, referring to an LGBTQ flag that was seen erected at the American Embassy.
Just recently, we saw a flag flown at the American Embassy. The LGBT flag. So my question is, can the Prime Minister clarify to this House and the nation what's the position of the country? Because that is a looming problem that's facing our society at this point.
Prime Minister James Marape, in response, said foreign embassies operating in the country have the discretion to do what they want to do only in their territories. He, however, said foreign embassies set up in our country must respect our culture and way of life.
The embassy, whether it's American Embassy or any other mission land in our country, by convention are territories that belong to those nations who operate their missions in our country. But I did release a public statement out already that we will write to U.S. Embassy, we will write to any missions in our country to ensure that they operate within decorum and in respect to our culture.
Marape added that there are no laws against LGBTQ community in PNG. However, there are laws against violence if this group of people are abused or harassed and called on the country to respect one another. Lindy Suharupa, National Emtv News.
A community-based organization called Lookoutim Youth Community Environment Service, or LIKES for short, is an organization aimed at empowering youths, women and girls in communities to look after the environment for livelihood and sustainability. LIKES attended the National Protected Areas Forum organized by UNDP and SEPA during this week to establish more partnership in carrying out their work.
Founder for LIKES, Jimmy Peter, said LIKES is established with an aim to engage unemployed youths in communities to be involved in environmental sustainability programs to sustain livelihoods.
And our main aim is to provide unemployed youth some kind of activity, training, and where possible, income generation.
LIKES is currently focusing on the Bootless Bay at the moment, concentrating on restoring the coral reefs and sustaining the mangroves around the area. Bootless Bay is a national protected area. Mr. Peter said the main challenge they face is getting the community around the area to participate.
We felt that the need for community engagement was missing. The need for using the process of free prior informed consent. So we found that as a gap area, so we are working with communities in those areas, church groups, NGOs, also private sector to try and save the Bootless Bay as a maritime sanctuary. One, to protect the environment from natural disasters and climate change. Two, to provide, just outside of Port Moresby, a tourist spot.
A volunteer with LIKES, Biola, said due to continuous awareness, now there is an increase in the involvement of women and girls.
And the involvement of females, like in the past, wasn't very effective, given our customs and traditions and all that. So with LIKES, being involved with LIKES, it has helped.
This Destin likes working with women's group in the area.
Partners we have is the Mangrove Market Mary, and they actually set up to help women who live in mangrove areas to be able to have a market for the produce from the mangroves. So that's something that we're running with, and we actually involve a lot of women and girls in our programs.
Likes is also working with other local partners such as Hiri Coral and the communities of Vavakori and Tuboseria in the Hiri LLG to restore Bootless Bay for marine biodiversity preservation, as well as to develop it into a tourist and dive site. Cynthia Maku, National Emtv News.
A mobile application developed by the UNDP in partnership with the Conservation and Environment Protection Authority aims to overcome geographical, infrastructural and technological challenges that prevents the effective management of natural resources within the region. This app is called the Lookim Gather app and has been running over a year now with around 200 users.
The mobile application Lookim Gather app aims to provide information which can benefit conservation, monitoring and management plans. Joshua Turia from UNDP's PNG Natural Resource Management Hub explains the application's features and its purpose.
To connect communities at the local level with your government partners, and then also at the global level with international stakeholders as well. So the tool's design, it takes into consideration a lot of PNG's challenges, one being the internet, two being where to store the data, but it's not complex. Its design is made to be simple so that anybody can use it. So it's just meant to collect simple conservation and biodiversity information for better and improved biodiversity planning.
The application is available on Google Play Store and is user-friendly.
So there's a lot of difficulty in getting it out to the outside centers of Port Moresby, where what is the actual need for it, for this kind of application. So we're looking on ways to try and bring it out there, not to conduct the training out there itself, but rather to create guidance documents, tutorial videos, just so that we can have people outside of Port Moresby in the outside centers in the rural areas to uptake the application and use it the way we had hoped for it to be used.
So far, the application has around 200 users and is free to use. A local community called the Pantaga Locally Managed Marine Area has been using the app to monitor Kimbe Bay in the West New Britain province. UNDP is working in cooperation with SEPA to establish and monitor an effective protected area network across the country. Cynthia Maku, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National Emtv News. The people of Enga Province have been encouraged to get into agriculture and small-medium enterprises as the provincial government has allocated 4 million kina in that sector. Provincial Administrator Sandy Saka made this known recently during the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between Enga Provincial Government and Investment Promotions Authority.
During the signing, the provincial administrator said the provincial government was working towards improving business activities for the people by making the environment conducive. The signing, done with IPA Managing Director Clarence Hoot, was to have a desk in Wabec Town to help local entrepreneurs and business houses. Saka announced that Enga provincial government would be funding programs under the Department of Primary Industries or Agriculture and SMEs.
Mama line SME, no business involved long. DPI, 2 million staff of government assisting you. But before the government assisting you, you comply with them with the process. You got recent and Mipla Karimon Khan. You know Mipla Karimon Khan, no working leave services of government Mipla. So this is budget for the 2 million loan for SMEs loan, DPI. government to revise budget approved 2 weeks ago, put in another 2 million, another legal SMEs outside from DPI. You work in Taga box or trade store, outside from DPI, another 2 million. So, Ega provincial government is putting 4 million.
He also encouraged women groups involved in processing locally produced spices, seasonings and vegetable products to seek financial support at Ipata Center. However, he clarified there will be strict monitoring of funds so that genuine locally based businesses are supported. He also warned that paper farmers will not be entertained in obtaining funds from the provincial government.
Now this is the line you said paper farmer and nobody. So even if you comply with the more IPA regulations, statutory regulations, but you not actually put in effort, no working on the work. You seem yes, you go online and see certificate no working, but online no comments no details, I come working actual site inspection. When I'm working, now based on the report, but you access him on the funds so online like. Walking walk straight, like all in support. Now straight in sit down blue, now sit down no family blue, now line no middle of place. Government blue by support in blue.
Natasha Avoy, National Emtv News.
During the 2019 COVID-19 outbreak, the Total Waste Management Group of Companies Industrial High Temperature Incinerator played an important role in reducing the medical waste generated from the isolated centers nationwide. The behind-the-scenes happening of what goes on at the facility was detailed by the senior incinerator operator Martin Tivelit during Emtv's recent site visit.
It's been 3 years since the COVID-19 outbreak hit the shores of Papua New Guinea, and the Total Waste Management Group of Companies' commendable contribution in reducing medical wastes generated from the COVID response centers and clinics remains as a testament for the company, especially its incinerator operators and the facility itself. Senior incinerator operator Martin Tivelit recalls his encounter during the COVID-19 period.
We've been helping reducing this all waste, the COVID, no good time spread out. All asking me nam talk yes, me can accept him, bambla ban him. Because me all training me lo safety level lo operating this waste.
The incinerator was procured from the United Kingdom in 2017 and burns at a temperature of 800 degrees Celsius to 1200 degrees Celsius, and its purpose is to reduce waste volumes as well as managing a variety of waste streams. In partnership with Go PNG and the National Department of Health, the facility played a pivotal role in supporting these two state entities to typically reduce volumes of wastes, which then led to further advancements such as the conversion of waste into energy-building products. Total Waste Management Group of Companies Managing Director Corey Chen elaborates further.
Our high temperature incinerator here, as Martin explained, it burns at a temperature of anywhere from 800 degrees to 1200 degrees Celsius. The purpose of the incinerator is to be, like what Martin spoke about, reducing waste volume and also managing a variety of different waste streams. So general waste, hydrocarbon contaminated waste, through to medical waste. And as Martin mentioned, during the COVID pandemic, this facility really helped serve a purpose for the government of PNG, particularly working closely with National Department of Health.
The facility is boasting its 6th year of operation and is designed to meet a multiple international emissions criteria in line with PNG's environmental permit, as TWM looks forward to advancing to some newer technologies, and the unit is fully nationally operated. Lisa Puni, National Emtv News.
Moving to overseas news now, and former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced that he will be retiring from politics effective immediately.
Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced he is stepping down as an MP. The Conservative politician will resign with immediate effect after being told he will be sanctioned for misleading Parliament over lockdown-breaking parties at Downing Street. In his resignation statement, Mr Johnson has accused the House of Commons inquiry of attempting to drive him out.
The French Prime Minister has praised the emergency workers who responded to 4 kids that were stabbed at a park on Paris by an asylum seeker wielding a knife.
Let's have a look at the other stories making headlines today. The French President Emmanuel Macron has paid tribute to emergency workers and given his support to the families of the 4 children who were stabbed in a park in the Alpine town of Annecy on Thursday. The 4 children, aged between 22 and 36 months, and 2 pensioners are now in a stable condition in hospital. Mr Macron, who has called the attack an act of absolute cowardice, met with local authorities, praising them for their efforts.
As President of the Republic, I'm very proud of you. Very proud of what's been done by some fellow citizens who just happened to be there. And very proud of the place and the role everybody took. Yours, so ours, you did your duty, but you all did more than that. That makes me extremely proud.
National MTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The recent kickboxing tournament held in Port Moresby that witnessed the clash of the regions saw the Highlands region take the win at the end of the tournament. With this win at the end for the Highlands region, they will host the next clash of the region come next year.
With this win at hand for the Highlands region, they will host the next clash of the regions come next year. The recent tournament in Port Moresby that witnessed a lot of raw talents is the first of its kind in a long time. The clash of the regions brought more than 40 fighters from the Highlands region to compete here in the Southern region in Port Moresby. Each of the participating clubs also had female fighters as well as new fighters who for the first time took part in their various respective weight categories. The tournament hosted by PNG KBF is the first in a long while. They are hoping that more events will take place before other events later this year. Currently, the Federation is now working on identifying its top fighters for a possible international bout later in the year. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Head of Oceania Women's Football, Emma Evans, in an interview with MTV, said for PNG to host the first ever OFC tournament in the Pacific is the boost for women's football in the region.
As PNG plays host to the OFC Women's Championship in Port Moresby, women's football is now in the spotlight in the region, where much focus will now be bestowed upon women's football in the Oceania region.
The OFC Women's Champions League has launched for the first time ever here in Port Moresby. It's a hugely exciting opportunity, not just for, the players and the coaches and the teams that are here, but also for the country.
This inaugural event in PNG is also a boost to women's football in the country, where PNG FA is now looking to invest more in women's football when it comes to development and competition both in country and overseas.
Well, one of the most exciting things this year is the FIFA Women's World Cup coming to our shores in New Zealand and Australia, and we hope that that has a ripple effect right throughout the Pacific.
With the competition now concluded, the message is now clear, as per advice from Head of Women's OFC, Emma Evans.
We've been really pleased with the talent on display throughout the week, and really exciting heading into the last day of games as well to see who will lift that trophy at the end of it. And for these teams, it's been their first chance to test themselves against, other countries.
Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Moving to overseas sports now. Tennis superstar Novak Djokovic is one game away from a record 23 Grand Slam titles.
The 36-year-old third seed won 6-3, 5-7, 6-1, 6-1. Djokovic will play Casper Ruud in the final after the fourth seed dismantled Alexander Zverev in straight sets.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region: Port Moresby City, mostly fine with few inland showers. Daru, fine and windy. Kerema, cloudy with occasional showers and possible thunderstorms. Alatau, partly cloudy with possible brief showers. Popondetta, partly cloudy with few showers. In the Momase region, Ley City, cloudy with occasional showers and possible thunderstorms. Madang, Wewak and Vanimo, partly cloudy with few showers with possible thunderstorms. In the New Guinea Islands region, all centers, partly cloudy with few showers with possible thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabek, frequent showers and possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 10th of June 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.